Hi there. Over the last few months, I have been speaking a lot about perimenopause. So I speak sometimes about perimenopause and sometimes about women going through midlife transitions. And as I reflect on the fact that I've been posting for 6 months, it's important to frame why I talk about these issues, specifically perimenopause, and why it's important to even talk about these issues at all. Now, I've talked about this previously before, but I have discovered that in the course of my research and in the course of trying to figure out what was actually going on with me, I've discovered that for many women, perimenopause can last for up to 10 years. Now that represents a significant season in anybody's life. Think about it. 10 years for some, and the research also shows that for some it can start as early as their late 30s, early 40s, or in my case, in the late 40s. But my perimenopause did not start recently. I have discovered, or at least understood, that what I was passing through in the last 2 years is called perimenopause. Now, growing up, I thought that my understanding was, you're a young girl, you start to have your periods, and then you get older, you start to have children, and then one day in the far off future, you have menopause, or you come into your menopause, right? And for me, menopause meant that you stopped periods. So I just thought that one day you wake up, your periods end, and that's it, you're in menopause. I did not have a context to understand that before you got to that magical day when your period comes to an end, that there is a season of perimenopause. I did not understand that. And talking to a lot of women as we navigate this season, a lot of women have said, they did not know that there was a season of perimenopause leading up to menopause. Now, for me, in my case, the last 2 years were a time of discovering and trying to understand what exactly I was going through and trying to name it. And I've talked about this before, and in this series, I will continue to talk a lot more about what I experienced, but also talk about what I've heard from other women, what they've experienced as well in this season. But why is it important to talk about this? And why is it important? And why am I actually stressing about the season? Because it is a significant time. It's such a long time. 10 years is a generation, is a decade of navigating through this. And for many of us women, we either do not have the words to describe what we're going through, or we don't have the name of the thing that we're passing through. We spend a lot of time trying to figure things out. So going to your primary care physician, your family doctor, trying to understand, hey, today something else new has happened. What does this mean? Many women have shared with me their either misdiagnosis, people ignoring them, or telling them, yeah, it's just one of those things, don't worry about it. It will pass, don't worry about it. Or sometimes just being considered sort of difficult, right? Okay, here we go again, you're difficult and you're going through this and you're just talking about all these things and they make no sense. And so imagine going through a significant season of your life where you're silenced or you're shamed. Sometimes you're shamed and sometimes you're ignored or you're even misdiagnosed, right? And I was talking to one of I have a lot of mummies in my life, sort of older women that I enjoy spending time with. And I was speaking to one of these mummies, not my actual mother, but a woman that I consider a mother to me. And I was speaking to her, I said, okay, so when you were going through your own season, what happened? And then she relayed this story of going to a doctor. And the doctor said, oh yeah, it's just one of those things. You just have to get over it. And literally sent her on her way. And so I said, well, how did you navigate this? She says, well, it's one of those things. And then proceeded to ignore a significant life event This is what our mothers had to deal with, where they were shut down by healthcare professionals who told them that this was something that they had to deal with. So I talk about this topic a lot because I don't want us to have another generation of women who feel that they have to just go through it, where they're silenced or ignored, or they do not have the words to describe what they're going through. So my little corner of this internet, I use faith to help me navigate this season of life. And from that context of faith, I've been thinking and reflecting a lot on Jesus and how he saw women. And one story that I've been coming back to in this season a lot is the story of the woman with the issue of blood. So if you don't know this story, I'll go through it really quickly and tell you about it. So the Bible tells us that there was a lady, a woman, who had had an issue of blood. So that means that she was bleeding continuously for a period of 12 years. So that's a long season for her. Now, if you've ever had a period longer than 7 days is already an issue. It's significant, it's problematic, it's awful. So imagine going through this season for 12 years. Now, in the Bible, they tell us she went through this season for 12 years, and they said two things that struck me. The first was that she suffered many things in the hands of physicians. Think about it, right? This is a bit like women in perimenopause, right? Trying to figure out your symptoms, and you're speaking to different doctors, and you're being dismissed, ignored, told to deal with it. She was ignored, this woman in the Bible, she was ignored, and she suffered many things in the hands of physicians. So you can imagine how she was prodded and poked and maybe even laughed at, shamed, or whatever. So that was the first thing the Bible tells us about her. And the second thing it says is, and she had spent so much trying to solve her problem. So she suffered a lot in the hands of physicians. The Bible says she spent all that she had trying to solve this problem. So again, like perimenopause, right? We're going through multiple doctors, multiple tests, lots of different trials to find something that can solve the problem that we have, or this issue or this challenge of this current season. Now think about the parallel between this woman who had 12 years with the issue of blood, and then we're in this season that they say can last for up to 10 years. And like the woman with the issue of blood, she suffered many things in the hands of physicians. So likewise, as we go through perimenopause, we're suffering many things in the hands of physicians trying to figure things out. And then she spent all that she had trying to solve her problem. And we're also spending so much money going through tests, trials, trial treatments, HRT. I currently am on HRT, I'm on testosterone, and it's not an insignificant cost, but it's been incredibly helpful for me. Just like the woman with the issue of blood, her issues were solved when she encountered Jesus, right? And he was moved with compassion for her. And he did two things when he healed her. The first thing was he asked, well, what happened? He felt virtue leave him, right? That's what the Bible tells us. But then she explained her situation. So first of all, he was patient and he listened to her. He gave her the space to explain what she had gone through. And then after that, the first thing he said to her was, go in peace. So before even healing the physical condition, he looked at her and saw that, she was in mental anguish, going through these issues that she had had. And just imagine, in perimenopause, right? Beyond the symptoms that we have in peri, there's also the mental weight of going through this season. So Jesus looked at this woman and said, go in peace. He spoke to her mental anguish, her anxiety, the issues that had plagued her in her mind related to her physical condition. And then he healed her. And this is one of the places where I have a lot of comfort. That as I'm walking through this perimenopause season, Jesus sees me fully and I can be very open and honest and transparent with him. I talk to him, I talk to everybody around me as well about the issues of perimenopause. But he sees us in this situation. He is moved with compassion for us. And like he said to the woman with the issue of blood, go in peace. There's peace available to help with the mental conditions that we also, or the mental weight, shall I say, that we carry in this season. So that's the first thing. There is peace available for us in this season. And the second piece of this is that there was healing available for her in her season. So as we navigate perimenopause, there's peace and healing available for us in this season. I want you to be encouraged that in as much as perhaps you don't have the words to describe your particular circumstance or the particular symptom, or you're discovering new symptoms, because every day there's something new and it's like, oh, this could be peri. But, even with the symptoms that you're navigating, there is also healing available for you. Now, I want you to know that in this season, we should not be quiet, right? We should be bold and audacious. This lady in the Bible, she was bold and audacious. She went straight to where her healing was. We can be bold and audacious as we navigate perimenopause. And that also means that we can reach out to doctors. We can find people who are receptive to helping us navigate this season. We can build the communities that we need to help us navigate through this season. But overwhelmingly and overarchingly, I want to remind you that there is peace that's available for you to help manage the mental anguish and the mental challenges that can come with navigating this season. But the core message here from me to you is Jesus is with us in every long season, the long season of perimenopause. And like this woman, he can speak peace and healing to your circumstance. I hope you found this useful. I hope this blessed you. I'll see you next time.